What's up, everyone? Just out here on my walk. Just wanted to get on and talk about some interesting things that I'm noticing. One of them being RFK Jr., Robert Kennedy Jr. Here's my honest thoughts, right? Honest thoughts. When I first heard about RFK Jr., it was on multiple podcasts that I was seeing. It was just people talking about him. And I'll say this. When I was listening to him, I didn't hear a Democrat. I didn't hear a Republican. What I heard was someone who was willing to talk about issues and give their honest perspective of them. Right? I didn't see someone that was so held to an ideology that you couldn't ask them a question and it seemed like they were just a broken record, that they were just saying something that was politically correct or that was along party lines. Right? When I hear RFK Jr. talk, what comes to mind is someone who they are part of course, he's a Democrat, right? But they are not a Democrat first, right? They're not a Democrat first, meaning they're not willing to say, hey, look, it doesn't matter how crazy something sounds. If the Democrat Party co-signs it, then I'm going to say it. He doesn't seem like that type of person, right? I've watched multiple videos where he's called out a lot of the things that the Democrat Party's done and is doing. And he's done it in a way to say, let's get back to what we actually stand for, right? Let's get back to what Democrats actually stand for. And I resonate with this message so much because as a black person who is trying to do a similar thing within the black community and say, hey, look, there's a lot of destructive things that we're doing right now and they're not working out for us. They're not working out for us. We need to get back to family. We need to get back to respecting ourselves. We need to get back to having a certain level of standards for our culture and our community so that we're not literally out here pumping poison into our youth, into the minds of people in our community. We need to get back to that. And that's a similar message that I think RFK Jr. is pushing to the Democrat Party is hey, look, we're in a bad position. Nobody takes us seriously. You're censoring people that you don't like. Like they just had, this is crazy. They just had a censorship hearing. And during that hearing, the Democrat Party tried to censor RFK Jr. And here's the thing, right? I look at this and I say, are we really polarized along political lines? I don't think so. I don't think we're really polarized along political lines. I think we're polarized around ideology. Because RFK Jr. is a Democrat, and they were Democrats there that were trying to silence him. And so if it was just about you're part of my party and I'm going to stand up for you and I'm going to defend you, then they would have done that. But they didn't. They're trying to silence him. And the reason that they're doing that is because it's about an ideology that they're trying to protect. And so because of that, when you're someone that maybe doesn't align with that ideology in a certain way, they try to censor you, they try to silence you. And I think this is one of the dangers right now within the Democrat Party is they don't know who they are. They don't know who they are. You have one group of Democrats that are okay with censoring people and silencing them. You have another group that isn't, but they're too scared to speak out because then they'll be censored. And I think this is one of the flaws that's built into some of the ideologies that the Democrat Party is pushing for is at some point, you have to let people have their own thoughts, have their own opinions. And the Democrat Party has been the pusher of, you know, we're going to try to control what you think. We're going to try to control what you hear. Everyone's a victim and we need to come in and protect them. That's just my opinion. But getting back to RFK Jr. Right now, I haven't dug too deep into his policies. But what I will say is that it's a lot easier to get on board with his policies if you're dealing with somebody that you think you can actually have a straightforward conversation with. See, I'd rather deal with somebody that I disagree with, but I can have a conversation with, than to deal with somebody that I agree with, but can't have a conversation with. Because in life, we all know this, you may agree with somebody now, but there may be something that comes up later where you don't disagree or that you don't agree with. And if you can't have a conversation with them, then that's dangerous, right? It's like, imagine you get in a relationship with somebody and you guys are talking about all the things you agree with. I agree with this. I agree with that. Well, then 2 years later, something comes up and you guys can't really have a productive conversation because you're only able to talk about things you agree with. Where's the real growth? Because you're usually not going to get as much growth on things that you have agreement on than with things where there's disagreement and you have to work together and come up with a solution, right? Anything that's actually challenging is going to be nuanced. There's going to be multiple perspectives, multiple ways of doing things, and it demands collaboration. And without collaboration, you're likely not going to get as good of a product or outcome. And so what I don't understand is when we're sitting here talking about politics and RFK Jr. in particular, how it is that Democrats are so quick to Bernie Sanders him. Seems like this is what they did with Bernie Sanders, and it's the same old playbook. And I just don't believe it anymore. And what's crazy is that I think that they think this is what people want. They think when they get online and have a hearing and they're calling everyone they disagree with racist, everyone they disagree with anti-Semitic, that's working. That it's working. And it's not. It's really not. Because it's exposing something deeper. It's exposing the flaws. And even if you don't agree with RFK Jr.'s policies, I read a lot of the comments and they're Republican, and maybe they're not really Republicans, maybe they're bots, I don't know. But in the comment section, there are Republicans saying, that's someone I would vote for. That's someone that I would vote for. Now, to me, that signals that people, even if they're Democrat, even if they're Republican, if someone else is offering something that maybe it doesn't align 100% with what you want, but you're willing to compromise on things, that, you know, you can have Republicans voting for Democrats, Democrats voting for Republicans, and that you don't have to stick to these party lines, and that if there's a candidate that reflects more of what you want, even if they're from the other side of the aisle, you can do something. And this relates back to what I mainly talk about on my channel, which is holding black people accountable. Holding black people accountable. During this next presidential election, I don't think that it'd be responsible for us to listen to the mainstream narrative, to pander to the Democrat Party. I think right now, especially when it comes to RFK Jr., this is the time not to go vote for him necessarily, but to question him and to get him to speak about some of the things that the Democrat Party has been afraid to speak about for so long. I think this would be a great opportunity to do that, because none of the other candidates are going to be real. All the other candidates are going to talk about how you can get reparations. They're going to talk about how they're going to change the criminal justice system and all of these other things, right? The same old pitch. We just need the truth. We need the truth of, hey, these things can be changed. However, it's really going to come down to personal decision, personal accountability. And I'm interested to see if that's the route that RFK Jr. goes, or if he's going to be like some of these other politicians that just treat black people like victims. So with that being said, I will say I do think a lot of his work on the vaccines, on his litigation trials, and just his whole approach of, I'm not going to use personal attacks against people, I think it's working for him. I am interested to see if Joe Biden will ever debate him. I don't think so. I don't think so. Joe Biden is, I don't know. It's very strange. It's very strange times. Like, everyone knows what's going on, but it just gets swept under the rug. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on the fly. Let me know what you think. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all next time.